Shannon, is Kyler worth all that money?
Jen, before we get to that, I want to read you something that Shannon Sharpe tweeted on 6/30/2022 at 6:30 p.m.
Are we still doing this?
Yeah, because I want to show you how ahead of
You
this.
should just wait until we do Kevin Durant again. We're doing Kyler Murray. It's okay. It's okay. I believe you.
No, you don't. No, you called me a lie to my face.
I didn't call you a liar. I just said I don't remember
You
it.
say you misspoke the truth. It's the same as
I did not say that. You've been all over Golden State. I buy it.
Okay, we get
6 months ago you said it was.
It wasn't no 6 months ago. Okay, let's get to Kyler. All right. Will he be worth it? Skip, I think the only way you can be worth this kind of money, Skip, you got to somehow wiggle your way into the top 5 quarterback. I don't see Kyler Murray right now as a top 5 quarterback. I do have him as a better quarterback than Dak Prescott, and somehow Dak finagled his way into the top 10. I think you and I will both agree on that.
Yeah.
Also, even if you don't become a top 5 quarterback, can you be top 10 and get your team to a Super Bowl? And that's the way to play this. That's the way to pay a contract like this, because, Skip, they're paying your top 5 money. So at some point in time, you're going to have to reward them with that kind of. But I don't really know what choice they had, because it's not like any other position, Skip. We don't have a guy that we don't think is top. You just go back into the draft and you go get another one. Quarterbacks don't work that way. If you got a decent one, you hold on to him. They believe they have a more than a decent one. They selected this guy #1 overall. So it tells you what they thought of him. And because he's so immensely talented, he was a top 10 pick in baseball. So it tells you the kind of athlete that he is.
True.
But, Skip, the thing that concerns me, and that you love Kyler a lot longer than I have. I think he's a phenomenal talent.
Yep.
But the thing that always concerned me, Skip, I say, Skip, that is a very, very small man. And everybody says, well, he's always been small. But being small in high school and being small in college is a lot different than being small in the NFL, because you play a lot more games and those guys hit a lot harder. Skip, do you know, since he's entered into the league in the second half of the season, so from week 8 on, his record is 7-19. And every year, what has happened? He's gotten nicked. He starts off like a burning bush.
He does.
But he gets nicked.
Like the burning bush.
Okay.
Like biblical.
Yeah.
Right?
I wasn't going there to someone was actually speaking to him in the burning bush.
Yeah.
But I get the idea. I get the reference. But you see, Skip, somebody falls on him. Somebody needs him. He goes down funny, and then he's nicked. And the thing that makes Kyler so unique, so special, is his legs. If he is nicked in the slightest, now all of a sudden you zap 30% of what actually makes him great.
Yeah.
Maybe even more. So for me, Skip, the thing that I feel is going to hold him back, where he doesn't reach his potential, is because of his size. Now you play an extra game. I believe at some point in time during the season, he's always going to be nicked. I think they've done a great job of surrounding him with talent. Now, the first 6 games, they're going to be without DeAndre Hopkins. Yeah. We know D-Hop, when he's healthy, he's a top 5 receiver. As a matter of fact, for the longest time, until Adams came along, he might have been the top receiver.
Yep.
So, and you brought A.J. Green back. You got Ertz there, offensive line. Offensive line leaves a little bit to the desired, maybe a lot to be desired, and maybe that's why he takes so many hits. But I just think, Skip, look, is he worth the money? Man, it's the going rate. Yep. I tell you who's glad that they did their deal when they did. Your Cowboys. Can you imagine? Jerry got off cheap.
Well, they were 2 years late to do it at that point.
Yeah, exactly. So imagine if they had franchised him last year, Skip, and now he comes up for a contract. Okay. So that 140, 160 that he got, you got to add 80 more to it.
Yep.
I believe Kyler, Skip, I don't believe he's going to live up to what this contract is. I don't have a problem with him getting the money, because it just goes to show you, in 2 years, that's going to look like a bargain. Kind of like the Patrick Mahomes who did his deal 2 years ago. Skip, that looked like the steal of the century.
It does look like it. By the passing day, it looks like the steal of 2 centuries.
So by the time you get to Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow, who's coming up after this year, and you're going to have Trevor Lawrence, if he turns out to be anything. Skip, it's just hard. If Kyler Murray was, let's just say for the sake of argument, Skip, 6 foot, if he was built like Russell Wilson, I would say, you know what, Skip? Because Russ basically has played, he had the thumb injury or something like that, but it was never no lower body or rib or anything like that. I would say, you know what, Skip? I believe he's going to be able to stay healthy for 3 or 4 years, and he can take him somewhere. But Skip, I just think because he's such a small man, he's always going to be nicked, and it's going to take away some of his superpowers.
Yep.
And I think this is what's going to hold the Cardinals back.
Okay, as you suggested, I loved me some Kyler Murray coming into that draft, and I said for sure, far and away, he's the best player in the draft. He should go number one. They took him number one. Cliff Kingsbury obviously knew him, had tried to recruit him, so they had some rapport and some relationship. So I thought it would be a great fit for Kyler. I'm now to the point that I like Kyler Murray as opposed to love him because I say what I see, and I haven't seen enough. And you did not throw in a couple of intangibles.
The leadership thing.
I'm starting to wonder about the leadership gene in him. I'm starting to wonder about bad body language when things don't go right. He's sulking and pouting and hanging his head, and it bothers me because you can't, especially when you commit the whole franchise to you in guaranteed money. You have to lead them to the promised land. If I can go biblical one more time.
They definitely gave him the keys to the kingdom.
They did. Okay. So I guess it did work, one quick larger point, to scrub his Instagram. I guess he won the negotiation by scrubbing his Instagram. I guess that put the, here we go again, fear of God in the hierarchy. And they finally said, I guess we got to do this, right?
Skip, I believe they were going to do it. Skip, this is normally when they do the deal. After the guy's 3rd year, with 2 years left on his deal, he had the 4th year, plus they've already picked up the 5th year option, Skip. That's when they normally do it. That's when they did it with Mahomes. That's when they've done it with every other quarterback.
Okay, so what are the big positives for Kyler Murray? Taller positives than even he is. He won 5 games his first year, and then he won 8 games his second year, and he won 11 games last year. That is progress.
Yes.
You can take that to, so to speak, bank.
Yes.
Kyler Murray is the first player in NFL history with at least 70 passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns in his first 3 seasons. That's
you can live with that.
Fairly impressive, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely.
His overall completion percentage of, let's call it 67%, is the best for a player in his first 3 seasons. Okay? Bang, bang, bang. Love it. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Pro Bowl, Pro Bowl. Those are his first 3 years of accomplishments. Last year, he was fortunate to make the Pro Bowl because, to your point, Matt Stafford closed with a rush as he started to get the hang of it. And Kyler did not close with a rush yet again. So, to your point, what have we seen? We've seen these collapses, these late collapses, and you detailed them, and I don't have to go through them. As a 3-6 finish in 2020 when I thought they were it. I thought they were the it team. And then last year they were 10-2, and I thought, here we go again, and they close 1-4, and then they get blown off the field by the Rams, whom they had blown off the field during the regular season. I can't defend it. I can't sell it. It doesn't bode well. It doesn't speak well. And now let's get back to circumstance. Is Cliff Kingsbury the right guy? Because in the end, and I like Cliff. I know him off the field, and I like the heck out of him. But is he the right guy? I got to be honest about this, because his closing skids have been way worse than Kyler's if you go all the way back to Texas Tech days. So 6 times at Texas Tech and then 3 in Arizona. It's 9 straight years. His closing record, he opened the seasons, if you just take them all combined, 42, 20, and 1, and then he closed 17 and 44. It's in part because of that offense. It just gets figured out over time. You know this, and I know it. It's not meat and potatoes that you just can't stop. It's not my Cowboys of the 90s when Norv Turner would tell me we're the simplest offense in the league. We just go Emmett right, Emmett left, and we throw it to Michael, right? He does in-cut, out-cut, right? And it's just as simple as you can get. This is very complex. It spreads you out. What do you want to call it? Air raid, whatever you want to call it. And over time, it tends to get out-physicaled and annihilated because the quarterback is left too often unprotected with not much protection, with
it's not like he has a great the Colts offensive line or one of these Cleveland Browns offensive line.
They often go empty with 5 out. So all of a sudden, he's just a little sit and duck back there, and he tries to run, and he gets hurt. And so here you go. You get figured out down the stretch again and again. And then we talk about talent. Okay, so now we're going up to Keim, the GM, Steve Keim. Okay, so then the last 2 drafts, he took Isaiah Simmons, and I liked him a lot, but he hasn't shown.
Yeah, he didn't look like Isaiah Simmons at Clemson.
He hasn't yet. And I like Zaven Collins at Tulsa, and I know some Tulsa assistants who raved about his explosive ability.
Right.
He's had some off-the-field issues and whatnot, but the point is he didn't flash enough for me.
Yeah, he couldn't even be that Jordan Hicks.
He couldn't get on the football field last year. Then they let Reddick go, and then they went star power and threw a bunch of money at J.J. Watt, and they had to let Chandler Jones go to the Raiders. And I'm like, really? And then when Christian Kirk looked like he was going to be legit, now he's gone, but you added Hollywood, you know, and you lose D-Hop, and I like Chase Edmonds, and I like the other, James Conner, okay, and Rodney Hudson look like he's got some ability.
Yeah. But Zach Ertz is still there.
He's still there, but it's like you lose one and you gain one. You lose one and you gain one, and then in the end, Patrick Mahomes, you know, he says all the right things about his deal, and we laugh about it. Oh, it's just looking worse and worse. But he's just saying, hey, I'm still set for life. I'm good. I knew what we were getting into at the time. It's long-term security for me and my family. Aren't they adding another? Yeah,
his wife is expecting, Brittany is expecting again.
God bless him. And he's just saying all the right things. I'm good because he's in a great place with a guy who traded way up to get him. Who has offensive genius about him. So would I rather play for Andy Reid over Cliff Kingsbury? You better believe I would. So Patrick wound up in a really good place for him.
Only Juan Soto is 23, 24 years old and turned down $500 million. Patrick Mahomes couldn't turn down that kind of money, especially not in the game of football, Skip.
No.
Because you know one hit and it's over.
No. Plus, he just knows he's in a great city that loves him. And again, we're about to find out now that you don't have Reek. You know, your life could change. But he's had the weapons, and he's had the guidance at the top, and he's had the support from the top. And I'm not sure that Kyler has. And Cliff Kingsbury's quoted as saying, when Kyler's right, there's nobody better. Well, okay, but
he got to stay right, though, for 17 games. He started the first 8 games. Yes, he's right. We've seen him, Skip, because last year, he was in the MVP discussion.
He was.
He was in the MVP discussion. Yes.
10-2. So, again, I still like him. I'm good with doing this deal. But I saw a quote from Kyler saying that hopefully I'll fulfill my promise someday to win a championship. Well, I don't need a hopefully anymore. Before the draft, he was like, I'm going to go win here.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And now you learn what it's like at that top level.
It's easy to say that. People, oh, yeah, we go. Right, it ain't that easy in the NFL.
Hey, it ain't that easy.
It's not that easy.
And now that you got your money, and to me, you earned your money with those accolades. So I'm cool with it. But you got a whole lot more to prove from this moment forward.
Well, hopefully,
and I just hope you're surrounded with the right pieces to prove.
I just hope he doesn't scrub the Instagram anymore. He got his money. There's nothing else to be disappointed with the organization.
No.
I believe the organization was going to always take care of him. Skip, you don't take a quarterback in the first round and then all of a sudden look to get off him after 3 years. And they gave Baker even 4 years. And like you said, okay, Baker got hurt. And he hadn't, been to the extent where he had something torn, like Baker trying to play with a torn shoulder, even though it was a non-throwing shoulder. But I don't think the Cardinals were looking to get rid of Kyler Murray. He made a big, he wanted to get traded. He wanted to be, man, they valued the kid all along. I just think the way he and the agent works at the behest of the player, because he could have easily said, nah, this is not the approach. We're gonna go to Steve Keim. We're gonna talk about this behind closed doors, and we're gonna get this worked out. That should have never become public.
I don't know why, but in the end, I get the feeling that the Cardinals did this deal with clenched teeth, like gritted teeth.
Well, Skip, you got to, because of the running and the injury. There's a high probability he's going to get nicked.
I hate that, and I'm going to knock on wood for that. But history would say you're correct.
Yep.
The heat is certainly on him this season to prove he's worth all that money, gentlemen.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.